The following is an exclusive presentation of Jesup Broadcasting, the sports leader in Southeast Georgia.
World famous. The world famous Butch and Bob Show.
Good morning. You're listening to the Big Dog, WIFO FM in Jesup. Big Dog Country Radio, 105.5 FM. Butch Hubbard here with you along with Bob Morgan on this 1 week before Christmas. And it's now time for the world famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, by Murphy Builder Supply in downtown Jesup on Northeast Broad Street. Also brought to you by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street, and by the Women's Health Center downtown Jesup on Chariot Broad. And good morning, Bob. How are you doing?
I'm good.
You're good? Got your Pittsburgh Steelers cap on 2 days in a row. You can tell they won a ball game.
Getting fired up for this weekend. They got to win this weekend, too.
Who do they play?
The Saints.
The Saints. Saints won last night.
Yeah, they've won every game but two. They're strong.
They're
Drew
strong.
Brees and stuff. But
and so they're playing at New Orleans?
New Orleans.
So it's going to be kind of tough for the
Yeah, it was tough last
Steelers
week against the Patriots, but it's got to be done.
Got to be done. Got to do what you got to do. What you got to do, right, Bob?
Go Big Ben.
Well, it still looked like Pittsburgh found a defense this past weekend.
I know. That was shocking. Where they've been all year.
Where has that been, Bob?
Where they've been all year. They finally showed up.
Finally
got a turnover, which was amazing. But anyway, here to talk wrestling. I got David Poinsett, the wrestling coach, in the studios with us. New sport this year. Had a chance to go to the first meet. Very exciting sport. A lot of kids out. Some 40 kids out. Is that right, Coach?
Yeah, we had about 42 kids that come out, had about 60 sign up. So there was interest in the sport this year.
What's your background in wrestling?
Well, I'm from the state of Florida, from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I wrestled in high school. I was a wrestler first before I was a football player. They came and grabbed me out the hallway to go play football, and that wound up being a good experience for me, but I really enjoyed wrestling. We have an assistant coach, Tim Pratt, who wrestled at Effingham County High School, who coaches with our middle school football. So between the both of us, we're taking 40 young men and trying to introduce them to the sport of wrestling. And so far, it's been success, very successful.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great crowd on hand. The match I went to, there a lot of excitement, a lot of different classifications. Interesting, not real up on the scoring system. I knew if you get a pin, it's 6 points, but how do you get other points otherwise? I mean,
you could. There's a myriad of ways you can win. You can just beat a person by points, 3 to 4 points. It's called a decision. You can get a major decision when you beat them by 5 or more points. You could get a technical fall if the person's unable to return to the mat. A disqualification is 6 points, and finally a forfeit is 6 points. So there's multiple ways to score. The base number being 84 is somewhat around the max that you could score in a match. So it could either turn out to be a basketball game score-wise, or it's a tight match.
How long does the match go on? When does it end?
Three periods, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
Okay.
And a lot of people say, well, that really isn't that long. I tell these people, get out on a mat, because it becomes an eternity when you're out there. Junior varsity matches are 1 minute, 2 minute, and 2 minutes. So it's a 6-period match.
Okay.
I got to ask you, you're both a wrestling coach and a football coach. I heard this conversation this past weekend at a party where football coaches don't really like wrestling because the football coaches are in there getting them bigger, faster, stronger. But in wrestling, you got to make the weight, so you got to lose weight. So you being both, where you stand on that?
I'd like to know who you're talking to at that party, because I coached college for 23 years, and you can go anywhere from Bob Stoops all the way down. But I will guarantee you this: NCAA football coaches will recruit a athlete that is multi-sport, but if he is a wrestler, they'll put more emphasis on that. I think when you get down to the high school level, we tend to see a digression of thought process, which is not along the lines of major colleges, i.e. they're not thinking broadly. High school wrestlers are some of the toughest kids that you can get. It's one of the toughest sports around, and I'm going to say it right now, one of the other toughest sports is swimming. in soccer. You're heavy anaerobic and aerobic sports. So college coaches really look for multi-sport, and they look for wrestlers. They know what they're going to get. Tough kids.
These were a couple of head football coaches at schools up in Atlanta, so I just was curious.
Gotcha.
But it was just interesting to hear the discussion. They're like, oh, no, we're trying to make them bigger. We got to get them bigger and stronger and weight. Wrestling, you got to make a certain weight, so they got to lose weight sometimes.
That's absolutely right, Bob. And like I was telling Ken the other day, there's 14 weight classes in the sport of wrestling. You start at 106.
Wow.
Yes, sir. 106 to 285. And my comment to Ken was, because, we were talking about it, he goes, we want our football players out there. I'm like, absolutely. I said, but Ken, if we're playing with a 106-pound DB, we're not going to be in Wayne County too long. I can promise you that. We do want the athletes to come out there. We really do think it works on flexibility, it works on stamina, but it's such a highly individualistic sport. In this sport, you're playing a game within a game. Wrestling is an individual sport, but we go back to those 14 weight classes. So you can win as a team, you can win as an individual. It's one of the only sports that has an individual state championship and a team state championship. So, when you use that, there's a lot of strategy involved in it. But when these kids come out of it, we're telling them, you may not know much now. We're going to get you there. But this crowd at Wayne County has terrific attitude. Now, they go out there and they will hit the mat, and they don't care what the difference is. We've matched up against Glenn. We've seen Charlton County. So we'll see the A schools. We're going to go see Camden at one meet. We've wrestled some of the best out of Florida already. Doesn't matter. These guys have a mat, will travel. And that's their attitude, which we could build off of. And I think we're starting something that's going to be dynamic down the road. And not just for high school. When you build an athletic program, just like the baseball program has, just like the football program has, and our other sports, basketball, you got to go back into the middle school, and then you got to go before. If we can get young men and women, this is a co-curricular sport, involved on the rec level, the middle school level, and the high school level, then you're going to see success in this program.
Well, it's kind of like the volleyball program. The volleyball program just started, and they had to go through growing pains. They had a pretty good year this year. The more they get involved, the better it becomes. It's kind of like I saw the score. Yulee must have a excellent wrestling program because that was a lopsided score. But it seems like you're holding your own on some other schools. So kids seem to be enjoying the events, but it's an exciting event for the fans to watch. The fans really seem to get into it. It was a good crowd at the Benny Ratliff Arena for the first match. Student body seemed to get excited seeing their fellow classmates out there wrestling. So it's a fun sport to watch as a fan.
Well, I'll tell you this, Bob. We had one young man ask where the turnbuckles were the first time we started practicing.
Where's the ring, Coach? Where's the ring?
And then the second one says, we're wearing that. And I was like, yeah, you are. You can wear singlets, and then you can wear a two-piece, too. They've changed the rules in high school where you could wear a two-piece singlet this year. But, yeah, it's a high-impact, dynamic sport, and people come to watch. They're not quite sure of what they're seeing. But I will tell you this, when a Wayne County kid gets on the mat, and we told them this at the beginning of practice, we are going to have some lopsided scores. Yulee had 3 state place finishers last year, and we just conveniently don't tell the kids that, or it just doesn't matter. But when a Wayne County kid gets on the mat, you're going to see a kid that's going to go. He's going to be have a good attitude, and he's going to have at it. May not be the outcome that we all desire, but each year's match, it's a learning experience, and these kids' learning curves are going through the roof right now. We've been over to Pierce County. We went this weekend just to practice with Pierce, and we practiced with Pierce, Brantley, Bacon. It's a communal type of thing, and I liken it to baseball for all the listeners out there that are used to the travel teams or the under U16, just in soccer also. But you get to know the people in your community. Wrestling is like those sports, is a communal sport. So we have young men on our team that are now friends with folks from other communities, and I think that's tremendous for South Georgia. And where we went to Pierce is South Georgia Wrestling Club that is geared towards bringing young men and women together in our area for the benefit of sport and for the benefit of community. So I think it has a different aspect as well.
Coach, could you introduce yourself again and tell us how you ended up here in Wayne County?
Sure. I was at Summerville High School in Summerville, South Carolina. Before that, I was a head coach in South Carolina at a high school. Spent 23 years in college coaching football from NAIA all the way up to professional football. I was talking with Bob earlier. I was in Cleveland with the Arena Football League. For me, college football, if you're not a Division I football coach, then you're pretty much an itinerant coach. You're moving everywhere. A shelf life of a coach from 1AA on down is probably 3 years at best, unless you hook on with a good staff. And I got tired of moving. I have a wife and 3 children, and just thought it was better to use that college degree that I stuck in my back pocket about 24 years ago. And I went to Bluffton High School. I've known Ken Cribb for about 20-plus years now. Ken and I have always had a great relationship, and I've recruited his schools. And I went to work at Bluffton for a couple years. An opportunity came up to be a head coach at another school, and I took it and went to one of the largest schools in South Carolina after that in Somerville. And when Ken came down here, he wanted to bring his staff together, and he brought Tommy Adams and I from out of state, and Mike Ward and Bubba Walker from within the state. So he was able to bring a lot of guys to coalesce here in Jesup, and we like it.
Well, good.
We love it.
Now, did you coach Cribb with the idea of starting a wrestling program here at Wayne County High, or how did that work out?
It was a must. I think when you look at it from a program level, there's a lot of aspects. We looked at Title IX, too, equity in sports, and we wanted something that we can offer to both male and female, boys and girls. Wrestling was that one sport that you can. There are women that wrestle in this, and the GHSA does have a women's state championship this year. They've started that up. So when we came down here, we came with the idea that it would help in football with our bigger kids, but also with the idea that you have young men like Isaac Reynolds, 120 pounds, Cameron Riles, 126 pounds, walking around school with no opportunity to participate in other sports. Baseball, you have a finite number. So we thought if we could offer this, that we can get young men and women to come out and give them an extra venue. And so far, it's been pretty good.
Good.
How many more home matches? I know I've looked at the schedule. A lot of the matches are on the road. There's been a couple of home matches, but how many more home matches do we have?
Yes, I'll address that too. We set up, you have a total of 20 matches in wrestling, and one of the unique things about the sport, another unique thing, is you don't have to have region competition. In other words, it's shied away from. And the reason from that is the officiating costs are so exponential. It's cheaper for a wrestling program to go to a Saturday tournament, pay less money than they would for a dual match at home, and wrestle more. So a lot of these wrestling programs shy away from the home matches unless they, quote unquote, absolutely have to. They'll go to Saturday matches 4, 5, 6 weeks in a row, spend about $1,500, $1,800, which we don't have at Wayne County. We're zero based and we're fundraising, but we decided to have home matches. Now with a single gym, it's hard to have matches and run basketball at the same time. And we were cognizant of that fact. So we tried to schedule around when basketball was away, or to minimize their practice time. We actually had about 5 home matches scheduled. We had to cancel a couple of them because of conflicts. And there you go. So we're done. We were supposed to, with home matches, that is.
Somebody texted in a question there, when was the next match? Not here.
It's not here. We're road warriors this year. We actually got a call 2 days ago from Appleton County High School, and it was a herd through the grapevine that Wayne County is a team that you're going to want to get because they're pretty tough, even though the scores get a little lopsided. Coach called up and said, would you consider having a home match? Absolutely. So what we're going to try to do, January the 8th, we're going to wrestle over at Bacon County and MCA. On the 10th, I'm going to try to get Appleton County to come to Wayne County High School to have that third match at home. Now, next year, going forward, talking with Ken and I, seeing if we can get somewhere like Martha Puckett, where we won't interfere with their basketball, or one of the other facilities here in town where we can just say, hey, we're going to be out of the way, and we can schedule as many as possible.
Well, in a couple of years, James E. Bacon gym will be totally remodeled, and that might be an opportunity there in a couple of years once they get all that remodeling done, air conditioning put in there, new floor, bleachers, all that kind of stuff. So,
you know where we started our first week of practice?
James E. Bacon?
No, on the football practice
Football?
field. Yeah, we didn't have the space.
So
the
you just laid
cheerleaders.
The mat out there and...
No, we did it on the
just
grass. And we had kids lifting up and putting down on the grass and running around. They're just having a grand old time. Football practice, we're getting ready for the playoffs. You look over there's all the wrestlers. It was quite interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, how do you recruit the wrestlers? And then I got a follow-up question after. How do you recruit the guys that you got on the team?
I went down to the middle school last year, and I under the premise of we've got to get young and look at young, went down there and just basically get a little presentation and asked. We used the Hey You method, which is tried and trusted. Hey you, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Come on out. And we've had kids come up to us, and this is an interesting fact. We have a lot of seniors. Not a lot. We have a fair amount of seniors on our team, but we told these kids, we're starting this wrestling program. We're not doing this for the hi, how you doing? We're Wayne County. We're going to go out on the mat. We're coming after you. We're going to fight for a region championship. And I'm about ready to walk out of practice, to go to practice in about 45 minutes here. And these kids know that what they're practicing for, Ware County is the team to beat in wrestling. Just understood. But you got Statesboro and you got South Effingham, and they take the top two in duels. And we have told our kids from day one, we are going after Statesboro or South Effingham. I don't want seniors to walk out of this program or upperclassmen and say, you know what, you really didn't put the emphasis on it. We're doing it right now. We're not waiting for next year or the year after. We're doing it now, and we've won 3 matches already. So we've known that we have a level of success. We have a long way to go. And we're going to go have a little bit of fun here in about 45 minutes and get
how
better.
How many guys do you have on the team, you said?
Right now we have 32.
32 guys out there in all weight divisions?
All weight divisions. We have a lot of kids at the same weight class, so what we do is we wrestle off. And it's this is the most equitable sport there is. It's not a, hey, coach likes you better than me. Not really. Why don't you go out there on the mat, wait for the whistle, and we'll figure out who the best two or the best one is. So it's 2-man enter, 1-man leave, just like the Thunderdome.
How do you train these young students out there, these young athletes who've never wrestled before? How do you get them from just a ball of clay and mold them into a good wrestler? What do you teach them, train them?
Well, it's multifaceted, but short to the point. Conditioning is huge in this sport. You can be the best technique wrestler. If you don't have conditioning, you're not going to make it past 4 minutes, which is 2 periods. So every day we go out and we work on moves, we work on situations, but mindset's the big thing. When you finish this sport, you've already been to the mountaintop. You've been challenged. You can't breathe. There's a minute and a half left to go. What are you going to do? Are you going to give up, or are you going to grab a root and growl, or are you just going to move forward? So these kids, we're teaching mindset, discipline, because it's a weight-oriented sport too. I snatched a pack of Reese's peanut butter cups out of one of the kids' hands. Walked into our practice facility.
You don't want him to move up in weight division, huh?
He's a little skeeter. He's 100 and some odd pounds. Well, Coach, I could eat this. Yeah, well, the big guys over there that are salivating like big St. Bernards, when they see that, they can. So the next time you bring that in here, you're going to figure out, what physics are. He goes, what's that, Coach? I said, we'll pick you up and throw you across the mat. Then you'll figure it out. No more Reese's peanut butter cups at practice.
Yeah, at least in front of his
we got to talk about nutrition also. Yeah, and it's good sportsmanship, and it's good team, good camaraderie. You see our kids stand up all the time. They coalesce around each other. We're going to do King of the Ring today. I wouldn't be surprised if we had a 152-pound kid matching up with actually 126 pounds right in there. We've got some tough young kids, and they'll match up with the bigger kids and go toe-to-toe.
Amazing.
Just joined us, David Poinsett in here, the wrestling coach, also the offensive line coach. Early signing days coming up right around the corner. I know the coaching staff's been busy trying to get these seniors places to land. I talked to Ashby the other night. He's set on going to Valdosta State. The only thing I heard about MJ is Albany State. Anywhere I know, Pat Rogers has decided to go to Mercer. He had a Citadel offer, but he opted to go to Mercer instead. I know he signed there. Any other seniors?
Sure, I'll give you a quick rundown on it. Pat not only had Citadel and Mercer, but Pat was also looking at Tennessee Tech. Had called me up. One of the guys I coached was the coordinator up at Tennessee Tech, and they wanted to offer him. Samford was in on the boat. Pat was getting a lot of 1AA. I think Pat's going to be a great addition to Mercer University. David Van's going to walk on to the University of Georgia. He's going to be in their walk-on program, which I think is a fantastic experience for David. Ashby will be a tremendous addition for Valdosta State University. What a character kid and a great athlete, too. MJ, we're working on some things inside the classroom, and there's no doubt in my mind that whoever winds up with MJ Fuller is going to have a a heck of a young man right there. Albany State's very interested in him. Albany State is waiting to see if he can clean those little things up and then move forward. We have other guys, too. We have Treg Patterson that some people are looking at. Treg Hunter Scott is a guy that's looking at, I think, Division II, Division III schools. Ty Anderson. Ty's wanting to go somewhere up to the Division IIIs in the North Carolina area or anything, or down here also. Brendan Wild, who's actually wrestling for us. Brendan's dropped down to about 190 pounds, which is good for him. Brendan is an exceptionally smart and talented young man. He's looking at the service academy. So we have some people.
Sounds like you got a lot of seniors ready to sign football scholarships.
We do. We just don't want to coalesce around 2 or 3. Last year we signed 10. We signed 10 or got 10 to school. Some of them are doing very well. Lamont Trent was a NAI, I think it was an NAI freshman All-American, led most tackles in the team. Zach Fuller's doing well up at Carson Newman. Spence Pierce made the all-conference team out there in California. So these guys are coming back. Shaheem Black is up in Albany State with Kieran Strong, and they've redshirted Shaheem, and Kieran is actually starting for them. Tomar Smith is all the way out in Nebraska at Chadron State. They love him out there. He's starting for them. So we're getting kids, maybe not the big UGAs or Kennesaws or Georgia Southerns, but we're getting them where they can get a quality education. They can go play football. At the end of the day, it's the degree that counts, and the education and experience is secondary to it.
Were you surprised that after playing Bainbridge, they went all the way up and won the state championship?
Not really surprised. They're a good football team. They're reminded us of Wayne County because they got on the field and they weren't stopped until they got off. And after action report, we looked at each other and we just said, it's hard to win a football game when you turn the ball over 5 times. And we sat there and looked at that and said 26-19. It's the first words out of one of the coaches' mouths, 26-19, close to 500 yards offense. But if you look at Ralph Friedgen, who used to be the old coach at Maryland, Friedgen had a formula. Friedgen's formula, X amount of turnovers per points per defense given up. If you're over 0.3, you're not going to win a football game. And we were over 0.3 on that. It was tough. It hurt.
I know the year that Georgia won the national championship and the following year that Clemson won the national championship, both those years, Georgia and Clemson, on the years they won the national championship, the least amount of turnovers of any of the top teams in the nation.
Turnover margin's huge. I mean, you hear Mark Richt talk about it, you hear Kirby Smart talk about it. Possess the ball. We didn't possess the ball. That was the difference in the equation right there. For whatever reasoning you want to give, we didn't possess the ball, and it hurt us. Bainbridge capitalized on it, and I'm glad that they had the opportunity to go do it. That's going to be Wayne County at some point in time right there.
Okay.
Like I said, you lose the turnover battle, you most likely lose the game. But there was 5 turnovers to none. Was the kiss of death for us against Bainbridge. That still hurts to see them.
Yes.
No, I said it's kind of like a double-edged sword. You're happy that you lost to the state champion, but you realize that you have the possibility of possibly being there playing for it yourself. That's what still sticks to my, And I still tell people this was the team: 32 seniors, a lot of talent, great season, the undefeated season. I really thought this was the year that if you're going to get there, that was the year to get it. But like I said, there was 5 turnovers just did us in that Friday night against Bainbridge.
Well, I'm glad you said that about 32 seniors. We really coached hard for those kids. I would like to think, though, too, that these guys left the foundation, not only for the here and the now, for down the road, what the expectation level is. They've helped raise the bar, and we've got a lot of young kids coming back, so it's not going to be let's just go out there, have a little bit of fun, throw that football around. You got some shoes to fill now. You've had some seniors that really busted their tails to get to 10 wins and 11 wins. What are you going to do? So hopefully the expectation level will remain, and hopefully we can get it up on the road. We got some really tremendously talented young men coming back, and we're excited.
Coming back, right? Your offensive line, how many kids come back on the line?
We'll have 3 back on there, and we have some that were behind that didn't get to play much, that we're really looking for some good things out of. We got some good backs. We got some tremendous defensive linemen and some secondary folks and linebackers. So we feel good about what we have. We just got to patch a few holes up. But this is Wayne County. We're going to get on a football field, tell you to bring a bag of lunch. It's just going to be 48 minutes of fun, so you better prepare for it.
These recruiting things come out and they rank people on different positions, all that. The Franklin kid continues to get a lot of publicity just as how good is he and where do you think? I know he's got an offer already from Harbaugh in Michigan, which is amazing, but how good can this kid be?
Well, you threw me for a second. I thought you were telling me that we're recruiting. I was like, yes, I agree with it. I think Weston can become as good as he wants to be. You know, we talked about one of the programs looking at him said, well, we're worried about his height. And my answer to him was, the kid's 14 years old. So you shouldn't be worried about his height. You should be worried about your ability to sign this kid. It was an in-state program that said that, and that one's on them. I mean, I think Weston Franklin's got a lot of upside to him. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of growth that's gonna happen. I think his growth factor is still going to continue. It's just unlimited, Bob.
Well, it's nice to start as a sophomore getting Mr. Khaki to fly in and give you an offer. You know, so that's
Absolutely.
You know, that's not a bad place to start as a sophomore. And like I said, I keep telling his parents, you know, he's going to have the pick of the litter by the time he becomes a senior. Just sit back and enjoy the process. But, you know, I worry about these kids. Like I said, they get these offers so early.
They do.
And you don't want them to lose folk, you know. And like I said, they get caught up sometimes in all that instead of concentrating on the goal at hand, which is go out and win on Friday night and help your high school team win. But like I said, he's got an offer, and the offers continue to come in. But I just, you know, you look at these projections and you look at these rankings where they list these people, and he's always up there in the top 5, top 10 offensive linemen across the country. So it's a nice thing to see.
You got to close that book. You can't pay attention to that mess. We had that issue with a kid, Ken and I and Tommy at one of the other schools we were at, and it turned out to be a bad ending for one of the major schools in the state of South Carolina. But I think with Wes, I think he is grounded enough. He's got a tremendous family, really good Christian family, and a good hard work ethic. I think he's going to realize that can't rest on what you got. You need to move forward. And I think Wes, he's good on that. His grades are fantastic. So a lot of upside right there, and we expect some good things at him. But I want him to enjoy his last couple of years too. And I think one of the things that a lot of people forget is when you get into this recruiting process, it's nice for kids, it's fun for family, it's exciting for the community, but the pressure on it's tremendous on there. And at some point in time, it's really a turnoff. I think the NCAA needs to go back and look at these early signing periods, because studies show, and I was part of this too, I was on the NCAA committee, this early signing period really is not well received by a lot of coaches. Yes, it gets them locked down earlier to, let's use the University of Georgia, but now you're major recruiting in the middle of a season right here, and you're trying to get ready for SEC championship and national championship. Now you got to go out on the road. I mean, something's got to give. I think this arms race that the NCAA is engaging in at some point in time is going to be very negative in the end.
Well, again, exciting times at Wayne County. Like I said, coming off a great football season, the rest of the program's off to a good start. Glad you're headed up, but like I said, it's been fun to watch. Unfortunately, no more home matches, but I'm sure there's some close away matches they go check out.
We'll have an Appleton County home match. That is going to happen. I'll just say that to the folks out there. When, I don't know. And now, like I said, I talked with the coach on Sunday, but I'm committed to try to get some more matches in here, try to get the community involved in everything. They enjoy coming to it. We really need your support, as do all the other programs. Like I said, we are a zero-based program, so we're going to have to go out funding. We have everything right now. Our kids are appreciative of seeing folks in the stands cheering them on.
Coach, always good to see you. Appreciate you coming in.
Sure. Thanks for coming in. Have a good day. All right, WIFO FM in Jesup, 105.5 on your FM dial, Big Dog Country. World-famous Butch and Bob Show brought to you by the Wolf Animal Hospital on West Cherry Street, by Murphy Builder Supply in downtown Jesup on Northeast Broad Street, by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear, and by the Women's Health Center in downtown Jesup on Cherry at Broad Street.
The world famous Butch and Bob Show.